Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 100 of the podcast. We made it. Thank you for coming along on this absolute incredible journey with me. And if you've made it this far, I just want to say, like I said again, thank you so much. It's just been absolutely insane. It really has. From setting up the podcast back in Bali, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of the support on the podcast, and it's just been one hell of a journey, and we've had the most incredible guests on the podcast, and I'm so excited to bring so many more. However, there is going to be a slight shift and change in the direction of the podcast and also in the direction of Kate Koaching. So I obviously set up Kate Koaching in 2021. I was 21 years old. I just turned 21 setting it up, and it came from a place of just pure love for fitness and passion and helping other people. I remember starting in my shed doing the live workout, and the reason I wanted to do the live workouts was because I was doing them anyway for my own mental and physical health during lockdown. And I just said to my best friend Sophie, will I just start doing them live? Because I knew I always wanted to grow my Instagram, and I knew subconsciously, I suppose, that I always wanted like an online platform. I just didn't really know what that looked like yet. And at the time I was teaching in college, so I was on my placement year for college, and I was teaching in a secondary school, and I thought that that was going to be the path that I pursued, and it was something that I dreamed about from when I was a young kid. I always wanted to be a teacher, or so I thought. And then when I was in my placement, I realised that I didn't want to do it, and it really hard to believe that something I dreamed about for so long and worked so hard towards was actually something that I didn't want to do. And I knew in my gut that it wasn't for me. Like, I just knew, I was like, I don't really enjoy this. So how am I going to enjoy this for the rest of my life? And it was a really hard time because I was freaking out. I was like, what am I going to do now? However, I was always adamant about doing a personal training course on the side. I always thought it was going to be something I did on the side because personal training wasn't really deemed a real job, and at least where I was from anyways, and it was always deemed as something that wouldn't make enough money to sustain decent lifestyle, say. And that's what I'd believed, and so I always thought that was going to be something I was going to do on the side. However, when I realised that I didn't enjoy the teaching, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a go of this PTing. So I was kind of saying this to myself in the back of my head. I was like, at least I'll have this at the end of my college degree, and I'll be able to use that for the time being as a side hustle kind of thing, I suppose. And then I was practicing for my exams for the PT course in my shed. It was a milking parlour at home initially for cows, and we turned it into just a normal shed essentially, and that's where I did all my training throughout lockdown. And that's when I started doing the live workouts on Instagram, because I needed to practice the workouts for my exams for my personal training course anyways, and I knew I wanted to build an online kind of platform, and I was doing the workouts anyways, and I was like, I may as well just go live with them. Like, it's going to just help people, it's going to help me practice. And I was like, feck it, what? Like, why not? Do you know, I was like, if people join, they join, and if they don't, they don't. And that'll be that. So that's when I started doing the live workouts from my shed at home. And I remember my phone being up on an old piano as a tripod. And I went live, and I think like 2 or 3 people joined the first one. And then 10 people were joining every morning, and then it was 15. And then when I was saving them to my feed, I realised that loads of people were saving them, and people were messaging me being like, okay, like, I'm not getting up at the crack of dawn like you, but I'm saving them for later on in the day, or I'm doing them in the evening, and I really enjoy them. And I just got hooked. I absolutely got hooked on writing up the workouts for people, doing the workouts, really enjoying them, and then having all of these people tag me in their stories afterwards or message me being like, that was so good, that was so hard, I really enjoyed it. And I remember when lockdown was over, I remember meeting so many different people on nights out and stuff, or even just day to day, people I'd never met before coming up to me being like, I did your live workouts in lockdown, you were just mental, screaming or roaring at that hour of the morning. And I was just like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And that's how I suppose I set up Kate Koaching. That's where it was born, because my PT at the time, my own coach at the time, was like, Kate, you don't know when you're going to be able to PT in person again because of COVID. You may as well just launch online. And I was kind of thinking, like, I have no experience. How am I going to be able to do this? Like, I had no experience with working with someone one-to-one. And he said the only way you can learn is by doing. It's like anything, I suppose. When you get your degree in teaching, you only learn how to be a really good teacher by teaching. You only learn how to be a really good driver by driving, getting in and driving the car. You only learn how to become a really good personal trainer by doing. Because I remember finishing my PT course and knowing absolutely nothing, like bare minimum, And I was like, I trusted him, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Like, what do I have got? Like, what have I got to lose? So I got all my systems set up in place, and I was launching it, and I was doing my video sitting down, I'll never forget it, in my room at the time. And I was saying it to my mum and my sister, and I was like, what will I call it? And we were trying to come up with names, and then that's where Kate Koaching was born. I'm pretty sure my mum came up with it, and I was like, okay, we'll go with that. And I remember sitting down, actually very similar to this, and launching my course, or my online coaching services. And I just remember the response being absolutely insane. Like, to this day, I will be so grateful for the amount of people that responded to that, because I just couldn't get over it. I was in such disbelief that people wanted me to be their coach. And that's where it all started. That's where clients started coming through, and I really started to find my graw, meaning love, for anyone who isn't Irish, for coaching. And that's where it started. And I'm getting emotional now, but like, I just am so grateful for the amount of people that I met through it, and the amount of clients who I brought through my doors, who were so open and honest with me, and who were so vulnerable, and who trusted in me to get them through maybe some harder times in their life, and to help them with their overall health and fitness, and their relationship with food and body image, and really finding peace with food in their bodies, and finding a real sustainable way of healthy living. That's all I really wanted for my clients, was that they'd leave me having a better knowledge around nutrition, their language around food, around their bodies, respecting their bodies more, and finding peace within them, and having an overall balanced lifestyle with everything, and trying to move away from that all or nothing mindset that I'd struggled with for so many years. And, I know that that's something that a lot of clients do struggle with to this day when they come in. So being able to coach people through all of that, and for people's feedback, like coming back to me saying that I'd helped them change their lives, or they had their first baby and, they couldn't have had it without recovering their period, the help of recovering their period because of hypothalamic amenorrhea or whatever it was, and them showing me pictures of their baby, or, someone like not believing in themselves at all, or not believing that they could feel good in themselves ever again, or get their spark back, and then seeing them absolutely thrive and go above and beyond in their life is the most fulfilling thing, like, without a shadow of a doubt. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for so many people trusting in me. I didn't think I was going to get this emotional, but I suppose it's not even that, like, I'm letting go of any of that, but I suppose I am, in the sense of working with clients one-to-one. Like, going forward, I'm only going to be taking on a very select few clients going forward for one-to-one coaching, because I'm shifting into something different, which is going to be mentoring. And mentoring coaches how to compassionately coach, and how to meet the client where they're at, and how to get the best out of their client, and how to set up their systems and behavior change, and move away from all or nothing thinking, and helping them through disordered eating and poor body image, and really getting the client to believe in themselves and believe in their true potential when they're coming in with really low self-esteem and low self-worth. That's where I was. And I just needed that. That's exactly what I needed. I needed someone to meet me where I was at, to understand me, to hold space for me, not to have shame or guilt around any of it, and really to make me feel seen, and to make me feel like a human being. Because at the end of the day, we're all only human and we all go through these feelings and these emotions and we all go through shit. And you cannot treat every client the same. It's not a one size or one shoe fits all, one size fits all. You know, it really isn't. And that's something where I feel the industry is missing. It's missing this all-rounded approach around meeting people where they're at and, you know, really getting to understand your client or what client is coming into you personality wise. That's where I'm going with things. I already am mentoring some amazing people, but I also am shifting the podcast towards helping people pursue their dreams and follow their passions and build businesses off the back of that and not be afraid to take up space or not be afraid to go after your dreams or not be afraid to go and do it, go and do the thing and figure out what it is that is your thing. You know, that's what the podcast is going to be shifting towards. And that's also the mentorship that I'm going to be shifting towards. It's not just going to be helping coaches. It's actually going to be helping anyone who is willing to step outside their comfort zone and figure out the business that they want to go after and helping them set up their systems in that, helping them with the social media side of things with that, helping them build a personal brand and actually find something that they're so passionate about that they can monetize and make a living from, or else just not being scared to go and do the thing. Sometimes it's hard to find something you're passionate about initially, and that's not something you should feel guilt over. Sorry, I actually have tears on my lip that I need to get rid of. But that's not something you should feel guilty over, and you can still use other things to help you set up the business. So you don't necessarily need to have passion initially. You can have past skills, or you can figure out what's something that I'm good at that other people find difficult. Shout out to you, Katie Hines. If you know, you know. So you can figure out skills that you use on a daily basis to use for yourself instead of using it for other people if you do want to set up your own thing or you do want to work for yourself. And in saying that, the podcast is going to be called One Day or Day One. For the go-getters, for the doers, for the ones who want to build businesses, for the ones who don't believe in themselves, for the ones who are in the messy middle. I'm currently in the messy middle. I am rebranding everything. I am growing up. I'm growing into this person who I know I want to become, and I feel more aligned, to be honest. But it's very scary when Kate Koaching was all I ever knew from when I was 21 years old. And it's very hard when you are letting go of something or you're letting go of an identity or something that you've outgrown. And, you know, like I said, it's a very hard thing because it's not necessarily that, you know, you don't love what you do or you don't, you know, love that part or, you know, you don't, I don't know what, like, how do I explain it? You just outgrow things. You grow up, you grow, you change, you evolve as a person. And with that comes unfamiliarity. There comes discomfort, change, and it's very, very scary. And I think that's why as well I've been so kind of a bit more MIA in general on my normal social media, because I know I'm outgrowing Kate Koaching and I know it's going to all be rebranded, and it's a very hard thing to let go of when you've built that up from when you were 21 years old. Do you know, it's been something that I've put my heart and soul into. And I've worked so hard. Oh my God, the guy's going to get this upset. What the hell? Yeah, I've worked so hard day and night to get it up off the ground and get it to where it is. And it's not that I'm going anywhere. It's just that it's shifting into something that's mentoring rather than coaching, but it's still letting go of that side of things. And with that also comes guilt, that I feel like I'm maybe leaving people behind, that there's more people that I could have helped through coaching or whatever. And I feel like that guilt is very much present as well. I think that's like the people pleasing side of me as well, but it is very much there, you know, because I feel like my purpose is is to help other people and to help other people maybe through disordered eating and poor body image and things like that. And I did think that was my purpose. And, I suppose coaching other coaches from the top to help them with all their clients is essentially still doing that. But it is going to be different now. I'm going to be helping people more with the business side of things, coaching side of things, mentoring, and so exciting because it feels right. But it's also very hard. As you can see, it's very, very hard. So yeah, and then the run coaching side of things is going to still be there. So if you do want to be coached by me, say going forward, I am fully booked at the minute. And I'll only be taking on a very few clients every couple of months, 1-to-1, because my love for it is obviously still there. But it's also that thing of I'm obviously shifting in things as well. So it's hard to just be like, okay, I'm going to give up all of that now. This is what I'm doing, So I'm allowing myself space and I'm allowing myself time to still work with a select few people 1-to-1 coaching and knowing that that's okay. Like I'm still allowed to do that. And the run coaching side of things will still be going ahead. I'm very much present in that, with help alongside us in there. And obviously I'm going to be on this 90, but I think it's important to show the messy middle. As you can see, I am literally figuring all of this out, and I've great support and great help. And I kept putting this episode off. So I've recorded loads of other episodes for this podcast for the new path we're taking on it. And I kept putting off this one. I kept putting off the rebranded one because I suppose it's just so hard. It's very difficult, but it's important to show the messy parts. It's important to show someone growing and evolving and showing that it's okay. That it's okay to grow and evolve out of something that you absolutely still adore and love. You can still adore and love that part of yourself and that thing that you built and put every inch of your soul into, and you can still accept that it's okay to outgrow it, and it's okay that your growth for it mightn't be as strong, or it's okay that if it's something that unfortunately you might not be able to sustain long term, because I just feel because I've grown so much as a person, it feels like a natural shift. And by that I mean I absolutely adore fitness. I love it. It is such a huge part of my life. But it doesn't define who I am. And I've come to realise that I absolutely love the business side of things. I really, really love it. And for someone who was told that they were bad at business in school and bad at maths, I had a lot of limiting beliefs. But then I had to realise, actually, Kate, you have built 2 businesses yourself. You've done all of this yourself. And by you doing this, believing that you were bad at business in school, that you weren't good at maths, that you weren't good with the numbers side of things, you'll never, not that people had said to me you'd never amount to anything or whatever, but what does she know about running a business, and now I'm here 4 years down the line. I'd worked so many shitty jobs before all of that. But now I'm 4 years down the line, self-employed and running 2 businesses very successfully. And I'm very proud of that. And it's something that I know I can help other people with, especially people who feel like it can't be them, or especially people who feel like they're made for more, but they're too afraid to step into it. Or they're too afraid to step into something that they're passionate about just because of society, or get this job, the safe option in your 9-to-5, or paying into your pension, but you're fucking miserable. Someone who knows that there's that gnawing itch in them, do more, to want more, and knowing that that's okay and that you absolutely can do that. And I'm living proof of that. And that's where I want to take the podcast, and I want to show people that even though it's not easy, it's absolutely doable and it's absolutely achievable, 1000%. And I think for so many of us who aspire to be entrepreneurs or successful entrepreneurs, or we want to build our own businesses, we see people who are at the top. You see the likes of Stephen Bartlett, Chris Williamson, Grace Beverley, George Heaton, Michael Heaton. You see all of these incredible entrepreneurs, and Richard Branson. I could go on and on and on. But you don't see how they got there. you don't really, you see how they're, and then they're telling you how they got there and they're telling the story. I'm documenting myself on the way there. I can help you get from 1 to 4, but from 4 to 10, that's where I'm trying to go to now. So that's another thing. You only need to help someone one step ahead. Like, you only need to be one step ahead of the person that you are helping. So for those who are like, oh, I can't set up the business, or I can't set up the podcast, or I can't do whatever, if you are one step ahead of someone, you can help them get to that next step. And that's a limiting belief that I had to overcome. You know, I set up 2 businesses. They're running for the last, Run Coaching's running for the last year. It grew from literally, what was it when it was starting out, like 200, 300 followers, and now has over 2,500 followers in the space of a year. And it's an entire brand, an entire community. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. It's in Ireland, it's in Dubai, it's in Australia, where it was born. And I was able to fast track that because I knew how to do it, because I had the blueprint from Kate Koaching. And so I can help people with all of that. But because I keep comparing myself to the likes of Amy Small or Grace Beverly or George Heaton and all these people, or Chris Williamson, and I'm like, but I can't help them with, you know, this and this and this. And then I need to realize that actually I don't need to be there just yet to still help people. I wasn't there. I wasn't the best coach I ever was when I was initially starting helping people, but I was still able to help people get from A to B because they were at A and they didn't know how to get to B. So you don't need to know it all. I can't believe I've this episode done. It's the end of one era and the closing of one chapter, and I can't believe it. I absolutely can't believe it. And I am absolutely terrified to say that, you know, Kate Koaching, it's an end. It's coming to an end, and saying that out loud is very hard. But it's literally just a rebrand. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still the same person, but I think it's just, I wanted to show people that I have outgrown it. And like I said, fitness and helping people with their relationship with food and body image and finding peace with food in their body is always going to be something that is so close to my heart. Hence why I'm going to be helping other coaches to teach their clients how to do that. But setting up your own business and pursuing your passion and following your dreams and going after the thing has been something that has been lighting a fire inside of me. And it's been something that I wanted to do by even just sharing it and documenting it and setting up a podcast on it. And I was like, Kate, you have to start. You have to take a leaf out of your own book and just start. And not care that it's not perfect, not care that the script isn't that great, that I'm saying but stuttering here and there. You just have to do it imperfectly, imperfect action. Practice what you preach. And this is what I've been saying to so many clients who I have for mentorship already. You have to start imperfectly and take the first step. Ben Francis literally just said it the other day, like he put up a post. But yeah, Ben Francis said it perfectly the other day. He just put up a post and it was like the best business advice I can tell you. And you swipe over and it just says, just start. The saturation on this light is horrendous. I don't know how to fix it because I'm terrible with cameras and lighting and stuff. Let me try to fix it here. Maybe that was a bit better. I don't know. But here it is. This is it. And what I'm saying is true. And that's all that matters. And all that matters is that my message is coming across okay. So, like I said, fitness, relationship with food, body image, all of that is something I'm still going to stand really, really heavily on, but it's just going to be through mentorship going forward and mentoring other clients, and also then taking on clients to help them build their business, follow their passions, figure out what it is that they want to go after, helping them figure that out and then helping them start from there. So even if you haven't a clue where you want to start, but you know you're made for something more, you know there's something in you that you can do, or that you have incredible skills, but you just don't know where or how to go about it or what you want to set up, then you've come to the perfect place. Come to me and I will absolutely help you get to the next step. And it's so exciting. It is so exciting. It's terrifying. It's terrifying, but it's so exciting. And like I said, I will be still taking on a very limited number of clients one-to-one. And that will just be every couple of months. I won't be advertising it anymore. It will just be going through my link in my bio. And then run coaching is still very much there. I'm still very active in coaching and run because that's very much performance-based training, which is also something I've grown into a lot more than the relationship of food body image side of things with one-to-one clients. So that's something that really aligns because it's connection, it's community, it's traveling, it's performance. That's something that's very, very aligned with me. Whereas because I feel like I've gotten to a point with my relationship with food and body image where I'm in such a good place, I feel so outgrown from it, and it's a very hard pill to swallow. It's really hard. You feel a lot of guilt around it for not like wanting to take on other clients who are really struggling. Like that's where my guilt comes in. But I can't keep lying to myself, and I can't be doing it to people please others. And I suppose where my solace is coming is that at least, not that I need to explain myself, here I am over explaining myself, honest to God, if this is on my clients I'd kill them. But I suppose where my solace is coming in is that I'll be able to hopefully help as much coaches as possible coach their clients compassionately with helping them with finding peace with food and their bodies, and just compassionate coaching in behaviour change and making people believe in themselves and chase their potential and meeting them where they're at. And that's where, like, I suppose my solace is kind of coming in, that it will hopefully still make a huge impact. But if you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening, and I'm very excited for the road ahead. Episodes will all be on, I think it's really important for people to note as well that my values are grounded. I'm still the same person, it's still Kate, and there's going to be incredible conversations going forward on all different topics that I love, mindset, visualization, going after your goals and dreams, building up a business, starting a business, the messy middle where I'm at now, where it's so hard from year 4 or 5 upwards, and where do you go from here, and how are you navigating it, and what's it going to look like, and how are you going to manage tiers and packages and offers and things like that. So I'm going to be bringing you along on how we're shifting and changing all of that, even though it's so messy, as you can tell. And there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline as well. I hate when people say that and they're like, there's notes in the pipeline, but I can't tell you yet. But there is. And that's something that's going to add to the podcast, because once that's all sorted, I will be able to teach you so much from what I learned from that side of things. And a lot of it is that interviewing other people who've just started in business, or who are in the messy middle, or else people who are like really experienced, and what we can learn from them as well. And in alongside all of that, there'll just be amazing conversations with amazing people, and that's where it won't change. That's what it's been all along. So I'm excited for the new journey. I hope you stick around for it, and I just want to say a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who has supported me and encouraged me from day one, because thanks to all of you, I'm able to live out my dream of following my passions and my goals and aspirations. And I wouldn't be able to do that without all of you being so supportive in everything I do. I think I've been so blessed with the community I have, like on Instagram and YouTube and all my socials, because I genuinely feel like I could join a circus, or I could swing from a ceiling like Miley Cyrus on a wrecking ball, and you'd be like, unreal, Kate, we're behind you. And that is so rare. It is so rare to find such a supportive community. Like, it really is. So from the bottom of my heart to all of my listeners, I am so grateful for you. I really am. And hopefully, guys, when we're on big stages traveling the world, I'll be able to give back to you so much more. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next one. There's going to be a new tradition on this podcast, and it's going to be all around one day or day one. So today's question for you is, are you going to decide whether today is going to be one day or day one?